You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. At one time, farming was a lucrative business for black farmers, but they were stripped of tens of thousands of acres because of racist federal policies, also on the state level. Today, most rural land in the United States is owned by white Americans. Senator Cory Booker introduced a new bill that could help African Americans reclaim some of that land. The Justice for Black Farmers Act would allow black farmers to reclaim up to 160 acres each at no charge through a Department of Agriculture system of land grants. Joining me now is John Boyd, founder of the National Black Farmers Association. John, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered. How big, how significant is this bill?
Well, Roland, thank you for having me. And this is a very, very aggressive bill by Cory Booker, so I would like to take my hat off to Cory Booker and the other two members of the Senate that introduced it. And for me, it's all about the land. And black farmers lost millions of acres of land at the turn of the century. We owned almost 20 million acres of land. We're down to somewhere about 3.5 million acres of land. So this bill, if it can get enough muster to make it through the House and the Senate, will bring about a much needed change to address the land loss issue. So that's the biggest part of the bill, and hopefully we can get a companion bill introduced in the House in the coming weeks. And if we can win this Georgia seat that you guys are talking about, the bill stands a good chance of moving forward.
And give our audience an understanding of how federal policies discriminated against black farmers.
Oh, absolutely. The federal government supposed to be the hand up to help farmers in the country has been the very same hand that was dealt to us that been a detriment to black people and black farmers in this country. Discrimination, widespread discrimination. We filed 2 lawsuits and won 2 lawsuits against the United States Department of Agriculture for discrimination. In 1999, 20,000 black farmers received the $1 billion, and 83,000 black farmers came after the filing deadline. Roland, thank you for having me on your show to really introduce that story to black farmers in the year 2009 and 2010. That bill allowed for an additional $1 billion that was signed into law by President Barack Obama on December 8th, 2010 for an additional $1 billion. But the discrimination, even that I faced as a black farmer, with the county official spat on me, tore my application up, threw it in the trash can. I was called the N-word by the highest official at the United States Department of Agriculture, Gus Schumacher, the N-word. These are things that have happened in our lifetime where black farmers were denied applications. And it's just a systematic pattern of discrimination, widespread discrimination. And we called it the Last Plantation, and rightfully so.
When did those things take place?
This happened, for me, it began in the 80s when I first was introduced to the United States Department of Agriculture. And I bought a farm from another elderly black farmer by the name of Russell Sally, my first farm in 1984. And he was already experiencing discrimination with the then called Farm Service Agents, Farmers Home Administration. And I said, well, where do you get money from? He said, well, you're supposed to be getting it from Farmers Home Administration. He said, but those racist people won't lend you any money. And then when I began to attempt to get money for 9 years in a row, was denied a farm operating loan. And for the people who are listening, farmers can't survive without farm operating capital every year to plant and harvest on time. We get 2 paychecks a year in the spring of the year. And right now I'm harvesting soybeans as we speak. And if you can't get farm operating loan to plant on time and harvest on time, you just won't be in business. And USDA is supposed to be the lender of last resort for farmers, and it's been a uphill battle for black farmers. So we've been in a 30-year fight to bring about change at USDA. And we were heading in the right direction with the Obama years. And we took a 360 with the Trump administration that doesn't even have an assistant secretary for civil rights. Nobody has filled the position since he became president.
Wow.
A position I lobbied for in the Farm Bill. So we got this position in the Farm Bill that elevated civil rights at USDA to the highest office to report directly to the secretary. And that position lies dormant as we speak by the Trump administration. So people who are confused about what side of the coin they're on and does it really make a difference who you vote for, there's a position that's supposed to process complaints by Black farmers and other minority farmers and government employees. And that position lies dormant. So you know they're not processing any complaints if the head of that agency has not even been appointed. And we saw how fast they could operate, Roland, getting that Supreme Court justice in there. They got him in there within a matter of weeks. And here we are 4 years and they don't have that position filled.
Speaking of that, you talked about during the Obama administration. Right now, Joe Biden is deciding who he's going to pick as his agricultural secretary. Congressman Jim Clyburn has been extremely vocal, saying he wants to see Congresswoman Marsha Fudge out of Ohio in that job. He is considering Heidi Heitkamp, the former senator from South Dakota, but also Tom Vilsack, who was the secretary for 8 years in agriculture for Obama, former governor of Iowa. Here's the thing first I want to get your thoughts on that. But the thing I also want to explain to people is that the agriculture department, only about 20% deals with agriculture. The USDA has actually one of the largest school building programs in America for rural areas. They have first of all, they have the largest federal bank.
Yes.
Out of all agencies. A lot of people have no clue really about the USDA. They oversee the food stamp program, nutrition programs. But in this country, it's as if the agriculture folks, let's just be real clear, white farmers, they've taken the position that that's our position. We control that. Putting a Marsha Fudge, a black woman, a former mayor in Ohio, in that position could actually change how the USDA is run. Your thoughts about Biden considering Vilsack, who already was there for 8 years, and some people said he was not as sympathetic to your organization and black farmers as he should have been.
Absolutely correct, Roland. I want to go on record and say Tom Vilsack gave me a very, very hard time on all of those settlements. The Black Farmers Settlement, the Women's Settlement, the Hispanic Settlement, and the Native American Farmer Settlement that all was on that bill that I addressed earlier. Secretary Vilsack wasn't on the Hill helping me campaign for that to pass that bill. He gave us a hard time. It wasn't an open door policy there. And I don't think Tom Vilsack is the right person for the job for Biden. So I know he supported him, but maybe they can send him somewhere else. We need some new, fresh blood at the United States Department of Agriculture. And I spoke this past Friday lengthily with a conversation with Marsha Fudge, and she has the support of the black farmers. And I hope that she's tapped and given them and get the big call to come to USDA, because that's the kind of person that we need to change the historic discrimination patterns at USDA and reverse the clocks and turn around and point us in the right direction. I think Marsha Fudge is the right person for that job.
To the point, again, for people who don't even understand the federal government, how expansive USDA is.
It's the second largest budget of disposable income, only secondary to the Department of Defense.
Wow.
And they disperse more federal dollars in rural America than any and all of the banks put together. So all of the monies that you see out in rural America come from USDA programs, subsidy programs where black farmers are pretty much absent. The school lunch program, the food stamp program, meat and poultry inspection, gasoline and prices. All of those things are regulated by the United States Department of Agriculture. It's a hidden gem in the government, but white people know all about it. They know how to use it, and they're getting these subsidies. The top 10% receive over $1 million a year in farm subsidies, Roland, of your taxpayers' money. And they're always beating on black people about taking handouts. But you never see the farmers turn away those subsidy checks that are told out that many blacks that are eligible don't get. I have a 3-page letter in there right now where I'm eligible under those payments for about $85,000. And they said, hey, board, you didn't score high enough to get the money. That's the type of hidden discrimination that I've been speaking about on your show and others for many, many years. It goes in an underlying way. They don't come out and say, well, board, you don't get it because you're black. They use these other terminologies to keep us from getting the monies. And if you don't have the monies, you can't buy the land, you can't stay on the farm, you can't get your crop in the ground, and you can't compete. And that's why we've been losing land at 3 times greater rate than any other race in this country. And for all the blacks that follow you and listen to your show, go out and buy 5 acres in the country. If you can afford a new Cadillac and Mercedes-Benz, invest in some land, something God don't make no more of. So forget about the new cars and all those things. People staying at home anyway. Invest in some land. If they don't get anything from this interview, I want our people to start buying land again.
All right, then. John Boyd, man, we certainly appreciate it. You know, you're always welcome to come on this show. It's always important for us to give you all a voice.
Thank you for your voice, Roland, and thank you for making a difference for Black America.
All right, John Boyd, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Go back to my panel here. Julian, the point that John made, USDA, the second largest budget behind the Pentagon. That is major. And if a Marsha Fudge is over that department, that changes the view. Because I'm telling you, white farmers in America have treated the USDA as their personal piggy bank.
Absolutely, Roland. More than that, we have lost, Black people have lost like 90% of the land that we owned in 1910. We've lost it for any number of reasons, partially because of just chicanery. Brother Boyd has raised a number of questions about how our land has been lost and what needs to happen. And if Marsha Fudge leads agriculture, we can begin to talk about reclaiming some of that land. I'm not saying all of it, but certainly some of it. But we've never had a Secretary of Agriculture before who's even thought that that made any sense. So that brother is nothing but the truth. And if Fudge got that, I can call her Fudge. She's my soror. She's my sister. So I can call her Congresswoman. I'll call her Fudge. If Fudge got that situation, I know that she would do some things to make sure that we began to repair the theft of Black land. Roland, when you look at the numbers, it would frighten you. The Emergency Land Fund looked at the ways the land has been taken from our people. And when we talk about the wealth gap, we have to talk about that.
Bottom line is here, when we start breaking these things down here, Avis, for these positions, we really need to understand power. And that's why Congressman Clyburn has really been pushing Congresswoman Marsha Fudge for this position. And it can be a game changer. And I know, and see what happens is we for so many years it was always HUD or HHS, but really it was HUD that was the black position. This is a power position. And so when you're talking about Heidi Heitkamp, who lost her U.S. Senate race, you're talking about Tom Vilsack out of Iowa, she's out of South Dakota. No. It's about time that that we get away from the ag secretary being somebody from Iowa or Georgia or one of those places.
Completely agree. And, one of the most important points that was raised in their interview was the high level of discretionary funds that exists at the Department of Agriculture. That's huge because as it relates to most funding mechanisms in the federal government, it is a very strict sort of application, grant writing, vetting, like all these strings are tied to it. But because there is so much discretion there, you're exactly right that historically This has specifically left our communities out, while white farmers have just literally been balling off of these checks. And if you look at what's happened most recently, specifically under this administration, when you've had Trump with his pseudo trade war with China, what he's actually done is just been writing checks after checks after checks.
Billions of dollars. His trade war has increased the trade deficit. It has caused soybean farmers and dairy farmers to file for bankruptcy, and he's just been giving billions. Here y'all go, billions of dollars to them because of his dumbass trade war.
Absolutely. That gives a completely new definition to welfare queen, right?
Long-ass trade war. This man.
But the thing is, hold on one second, Eugene, the problem here is that, to John's point, Republicans don't want to see farm subsidies as welfare. No, that's welfare.
Absolutely.
It's welfare in its worst form, because more times than not, it's corporate welfare, which means it's corporatism. It's assistance that the average farmer probably won't even have access to, if we're being frank and honest about it. But these huge, corporate conglomerates can go knocking on the door and just get whatever they need. And it's sad to a degree. It's sad because, Trump didn't have to launch those trade wars, trying to satisfy his ego. And then, the American taxpayers shouldn't have to foot the bill for Trump's trade wars.
Absolutely. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.